Every once in a while, you draw the short straw here at 60 Minutes. This time, we were told to spend a few days with a woman who is often called the most beautiful woman in the world, Angelina Jolie. She may well be the most photographed, the most recognizable, and the highest paid actress in Hollywood. She is certainly the #1 target for paparazzi everywhere. And that's how many Americans know her, from the tabloids, as wild, weird, and eccentric. But the Angelina we met was quite different from all that. We met her before she announced she was getting married to Brad Pitt, and she was totally focused on her first film as a director, a film about a very serious topic. She doesn't appear in it, and as we first told you last fall, Angelina said she was happy and comfortable moving behind the camera.
The story will continue in a moment.
We linked up with her in the indisputably beautiful city of Budapest, which is where she shot most of her film, In the Land of Blood and Honey.
We came here to Budapest for logistics and for financial reasons because we're a tiny movie and we got here.
It may be a tiny movie, but look at it. It's about a heavy subject, the war in Bosnia, which was fought in the early 90s, killed at least 100,000 people, and brought ethnic cleansing to Europe for the first time since Hitler. What did your friends and colleagues say when you said, hey, I'm going to direct a film about the war in Bosnia?
I think people that really know me weren't surprised, but I think they all thought it was a bit crazy. I think everybody still thinks it's a bit, it's not, I still think it's crazy.
You could have done a light comedy or an action flick.
I think I'd be terrible with a comedy.
There's certainly no humor in this movie about a Muslim woman named Ayla who starts to fall in love with a Serb named Daniel. After the war breaks out, Bosnians are rounded up and locked up by the Serbs, and Daniel, a Serb captain, becomes Ayla's jailer. This is a gorgeous building.
It is a gorgeous building.
You made horrible things happen inside here.
And beautiful things, but yes.
Angelina shot the jail scenes in this Budapest museum, and she relied heavily on her actors. They all come from the former Yugoslavia. She let them rewrite scenes, and they speak the native language in the film, released with English subtitles. Angelina said she wanted to make the film as realistic as possible.
We all spoke about every speech, every scene, and made sure that it was right and true. So everybody helped to educate me, and we all adjusted the script together. Can you see? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. While we were there, Angelina gave the cast a sneak preview of the film's trailer.
Wow.
And they thought it reflected the reality of their war. Goran Kostic and Zana Marjanovic play the two lovers.
People I know and my friends and their families never thought in their life that everything they had could be taken away from them.
It goes to the core of who I am and what I am and what we are, I suppose. It's very personal.
Others might find the plot implausible. An affair between a Muslim prisoner and the Serb commandant of the prison where women are getting raped every day. Some Bosnian women who'd been through that found the film objectionable. The Bosnian government temporarily withdrew Angelina's permit to shoot there. You walked into a minefield, and when you were writing the script, did you realize that every step you took, there was a mine in your way?
I didn't know it was going to be as sensitive. Everything was something to be very careful about and sensitive.
But Angelina says, remember, it's a movie, a love story, not a documentary. There's a lot of heart. There's also a lot of brutality.
There's a lot of it.
A lot more than there ever was in a film that you acted in.
Yeah, sure.
Am I making you nervous?
She has acted in more than 30 films, and her first ones, like Gia, about a drug-addicted fashion model, felt edgy and real. Angelina, whose actor parents broke up before she was one, experimented with drugs and a few other things early in her life. She says she used those experiences to get into her roles.
It's good to be home.
She won an Oscar for her chilling portrait of a schizophrenic in Girl Interrupted. Later, she switched gears as Lara Croft, a character from a video game in Tomb Raider.
To dodging bullets.
And played a spy, Mrs. Smith, to Brad Pitt's Mr. Smith. You were once asked if you wanted to play a Bond girl, and you said, nope, you wanted to play Bond. Well, you didn't play Bond, but you played a Bond-like character in Salt. Is that one of your ambitions, to punch through these gender stereotypes?
It's not something I intentionally did, but when it comes my way, and I'm aware of it, it was really fun to do. Especially because I just had kids. I just had my twins, and I'd been in a nightgown for about 7 months, and I felt like getting up and punching something.
Her favorite movie was not an action flick, but a tragedy based on a true story. In A Mighty Heart, Angelina plays Marianne Pearl, the widow of Daniel Pearl, the Wall Street Journal reporter who was beheaded by terrorists in Pakistan.
No! No!
That was a moment I'll never forget.
That was the hardest thing, yeah. As an actress, that was the hardest thing.
Many of her films earned her more money than praise. Critics have often been tough, but some directors rave about her. Clint Eastwood said she's a great talent hampered only by the fact that she has, quote, the most gorgeous face on the planet. That face has sold a lot of handbags and magazines, but early on, Angelina Jolie flirted with a very different career. You wanted to be a funeral director.
Mm-hmm. I did.
And you even took courses to prepare yourself.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like this very strange, eccentric, dark thing to do, but in fact, I lost my grandfather, and I was very upset with his funeral. And so we discussed that maybe there are ways where this whole idea of how somebody passes and how a family deals with this passing and what death is should be addressed in a different way. If this acting thing didn't work out, that was going to be my backup.
She can joke about it now, but there were other times, scary and dangerous times, that she told us were not funny at all.
I went through heavy, darker times, and I survived them. I didn't die young, so I'm very lucky. There are other artists and people that didn't survive certain things.
Talk about heavy, darker times. What are you referring to?
I was hoping you'd miss that. Nothing I want to go into a lot of detail about, but I think people can imagine that I did the most dangerous and I did the worst, and for many reasons, I shouldn't be here.
That's a very provocative phrase, for many reasons.
Well, sir, you just think that those too many times where you came close to too many dangerous things, too many chances taken, too far.
Her odd behavior was out there for everyone to see. The intimate way she kissed her brother in public, the vials of blood she and her second husband, Billy Bob Thornton, wore around their necks. Angelina acknowledges she's taken quite a walk on the wild side, but says she's moved on.
I'm Angie.
In recent years, she has been traveling the world as a goodwill ambassador for the UN. She's visited more than 20 countries, primarily to work with refugees. You used to be a pretty bad girl. Now you are a UN ambassador. You are a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Mm-hmm. You're a humanitarian activist. Do you ever miss being a bad girl?
I'm still a bad girl.
Yeah?
You know, I still have that side of me that it's in its place now. It belongs, belongs to Brad, or it belongs to our adventures.
Angelina and Brad Pitt have had 3 children together. She also adopted 3 from 3 different countries: Cambodia, Ethiopia, and Vietnam. For years before they finally got engaged, the tabloids had the couple splitting up one week, reconciling the next. The vast majority of Americans know you because you're on the cover of magazines every week, and every time they go to a supermarket, they see you. What are they missing?
Me. I don't see those things, and I don't know what they are, but I assume they're,
Sure you do.
I assume
You know
they're
what
not
they
me.
are.
They're not who I am. They're not what I spend my day caring about. I find them quite shallow and often very wrong when I do hear about what they are.
But they make it impossible for her to do anything in public. Even in Budapest, we could only lunch with her in the private room of a restaurant. When you're Angelina Jolie, though, there's no such thing as private. Take her tortured relationship with her father, the actor Jon Voight. He actually went on television and said his daughter had serious mental problems. That even shocked Hollywood. For years, Angelina refused to talk to her father. After her mother died, she started seeing him again. But she gives her mother, Marceline Bertrand, all the credit for where she is today.
Your mother's a beautiful woman.
She is.
You're pretty chubby, kid, yeah?
I was all cheeks, yeah.
Big lips.
Big lips.
Angelina also says it was her mom who taught her how to raise her own kids. At the house Angelina was renting in Budapest, we weren't allowed to film her children, unless you call Jacques one of her kids. He seemed to love the camera almost as much as the camera loves Angelina.
He likes you.
You're here because Brad is shooting a film here. You're not shooting a film.
No, we never work at the same time.
What's better, when Brad is working and you're with the kids?
Yes.
Or when you're working and Brad is with the kids?
When I'm home with the kids.
But a lot of full-time parents would love to be shooting movies.
Yes, they would, because it's easier. My mother was a full-time mother. She didn't have much of her own career, her own life, her own experiences, her own, everything was for her children.
And do you try to be the same kind of mom that she was?
I will never be as good a mother as she was. I will try my best, but I don't think I could ever be. She was just grace incarnate. She was the most generous, loving. She's better than me.
It's clear that you can talk about anything but your mother without welling up.
Yeah. That's my soft spot. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Angelina's biggest regret is that her mother wouldn't see In the Land of Blood and Honey. The film Angelina knew wouldn't have the commercial appeal of anything else she's done.
I am nervous that people are going to not understand it.
Right now, if you had to decide that in 6 months you're going to either act in a film or direct a film, what would you do?
I'd prefer directing.
Yeah?
Yeah. I loved having the spotlight on somebody else, and I would much prefer it.
Angelina's already writing and planning to direct another war film about Afghanistan. And she knows, as a director, her beauty and her acting skills won't be worth a nickel.
It's nice. It's nice for all of that not to matter.
It's also risky.
Is it? I mean, I think what's risky is living your life and never trying for anything and never doing something brave and never getting yourself scared. And
Are you scared?
in a good way.
Go to 60minutesovertime.com for a conversation with Angelina Jolie about her famous face.